is up, Focus Crew? Here we are, the massive announcement today of the Premier League fixtures. That means for FPL we can actually start planning a little bit. Now, we don't have player prices, etc. That is always a key factor because you only get the 100 million budget. But we can get a rough idea which teams have the best fixtures so far. So as you can see, I have graded what I think the fixture difficulty is from an A down to a D. D being very, very poor. Like, avoid. Do not buy them assets. You get the drill. So on the fixtures, you can see I've only shown the first 7 game weeks, because I always find that that is a key period, a key amount of time where you can start to make changes by the 6th, 7th game week if needs be, looking ahead at the next 7 fixtures or even the next 3 fixtures. So let's start off, shall we, with my beloved Arsenal. Now, they're going to strengthen this transfer window, that's for sure. I don't like getting into transfers, really. I like to see once it happens, then I'm happy. But it looks like we're probably going to get Declan Rice and solidify that midfield more. Giving Arsenal an A on their fixtures. As you can see, the start off, as I already knew, and I did tweet, Nottingham Forest first. Crystal Palace after that. Then Fulham. Tricky, Man United, then Tottenham, then Everton, then Tottenham, and then Bournemouth. So, you know, the toughest fixtures in there, they're going to be Man United and Tottenham, possibly Tottenham, if they keep hold of Harry Kane. They got the new manager, Postecoglou, I think, from Celtic. Is that where they got him from? So I think, yeah, Man United and Tottenham there in the red, looking quite difficult. So apart from that, every other game is fairly straightforward for Arsenal. But no game is in the Premier League, but it's just a general idea of what to expect. So I've given Arsenal an A, especially considering they're going to strengthen. Then we move on to Unai Emery, good evening, and Aston Villa. I've given them a D. As you can see, tough start there. Newcastle, and they're definitely going to be strengthening in this transfer window, and they've got a lot of money to spend. So Newcastle is not going to be an easy fixture for them, but Unai Emery does do well with his sides. But they've got Liverpool in there, Crystal Palace, Chelsea, Brighton, all tough teams really, going on the back of last season. So I've given Villa a D. Not an easy start for them. I'll be avoiding at all costs. And we move on to Bournemouth. Bournemouth, they've got West Ham, who obviously won the Europa Conference League, so that's tough. Liverpool, Tottenham, Brentford, Chelsea, then Brighton, then Arsenal. Really tough start there. That's more of a D than what Villa got by far. That's really tough start. Then we move on to Brentford. Before we do, please do smash that subscribe button, people. We are growing, Focus Crew, so really do appreciate all the love and support that you give this channel. It really does make making content a lot more easier for me and more beneficial for you guys. So yeah, Brentford, I've given them a C. Tottenham first. No Ivan Toney. We know he's had his match ban. Not match ban, sorry, his betting ban. He probably did match betting, so his betting ban. Who's going to be out for a long time. And then they've got Fulham, Crystal Palace. You know, Fulham have been playing well last couple of seasons. Mitrovic and that. Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Newcastle tough, Everton, and then Forest. So not the toughest, but you've got Tottenham and Newcastle in there. So I gave them a C. They're missing Ivan Toney. You know, that's about right, I think. Brighton, they're on absolute fire. They're going to lose a lot of players, but they're also really good at recruiting and finding these hidden gems. which is something we need to find in FPL, is those hidden gems. Always one in a budget team, probably a Luton or a Burnley, I'd say. There might be one in there. We've got to find them though. But anyway, Brighton, I've given them a B. I think that's respectable coming off of their form. They've already sold McAllister to Liverpool. We've got a lot of money there. Brighton bound to go into the market. European football for them. Luton first, nice game for them. Wolves, West Ham, Newcastle tough. Man United tough. Bournemouth, then Aston Villa. So standing out there is that Newcastle and Man United fixture, pretty tough. So yeah, Brighton a B. They can handle their own. I expect them to go into the market and do well. And then we move on to Burnley, newly promoted Vincent Kompany's team, giving them a D. Man City, they had to meet Pep and Kompany doing battle on the first day. Had to happen, didn't it? So Burnley a D. And then they've got Luton, who they fancy their chances against. But then they've got Villa, Tottenham, Nottingham Forest, Man United and Newcastle. Horrible start to life for Burnley. Then we move on to Chelsea. What are they going to do in this market? It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, they made a right pig's ear last season, but with no European football to play, but in the first 7 game weeks, shouldn't be too disruptive for that. I've given Chelsea a B. Liverpool first. It's going to be very tough there. But then you look at the rest. West Ham, Luton, Forest, Bournemouth, Villa and Fulham. Fairly kind. I think Chelsea are capable of winning them games. But again, we don't know what sort of Chelsea we're going to get. A lot will tell. But fixture-wise, giving them a B. Crystal Palace, given them a C, as you can see. Crystal Palace, Sheffield United first. Nice game for them. And then they got the mighty Arsenal next. Then Brentford, Wolves, Aston Villa, Fulham and Man United. So Arsenal, Villa and Man United probably toughest games in this. Palace's level, giving them a C. I think that's fair. So probably a lot of people will be going to likes of Eberici Eze there, I would expect. Or Lise. And then Everton, a D, going off the back of last season. Sean Dyche's men. Fulham, Villa, Wolves, Sheffield United, Arsenal, Brentford and Luton. Yeah, I think all them teams are going to give Everton a tough time. I really do. Fulham, Villa, even Wolves. Sheffield United, we've got to see what they come and bring. But yeah, a D for me. Everton, they need to sort it out. They need to change it around. Fulham a D as well. Everton, Brentford, they've got Arsenal, then Man City. But then a nice trip. Luton, Crystal Palace and then Chelsea. Dependent again on what Chelsea we get. But they've got a D. Moving on to one of the big teams, Liverpool. They've got a B. In terms of fixtures, Chelsea first. You'd expect Liverpool strengthening with McAllister. I think they found their mojo towards the end of the season. Liverpool and Klopp's men should be okay. Bournemouth, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Wolves, West Ham and Tottenham. So yeah, a B there. I think most of them games Liverpool should be winning. They're going to be back and they're going to be hungry for it. Then Luton Town, love to see it, love their little badge there. The Hatters are back in the Premier League. They've got a B for me. I think the fixtures for a promoted team, Brighton first, tough. Burnley, they could get something against Chelsea. Again, it depends the type of Chelsea we get. Luton are going to be an organised team. West Ham, Fulham, Wolves and Everton. I think, honestly, for a promoted team, that is a good run of fixtures. For me, the B rating depends on finding those hidden gems. So who's going to be scoring the goals for Luton Town? Or maybe they could have some sort of defensive asset that gets forward well. That will all reveal itself in the season. A lot more information to find out. But I like their little run for a promoted team. I think that's fair, giving them a B. Man City, the champions, the treble winners. Well, I had to give them an A though, didn't I? So, Burnley, Newcastle, Tough game, but Man City probably be triumphant there. Sheffield United, Fulham, West Ham, Forest, Wolves. I think City are going to be looking not to slip up at the start this season. I think they'll want a strong start and they're going to go for it. Then we have, hang on, let me just have a bit of my coffee. Man United, their neighbours. Wolves. Man United I've given a C. Wolves, Tottenham, Nottingham Forest, Arsenal, Brighton, Burnley, Crystal Palace. So Tottenham, Arsenal, Brighton, tough games for United, I think. So I had to give them a C. And again, depends what they do in the market. What players do they get rid of? What's Ten Hag going to do there? But they looked okay. They won the Carabao Cup. We can't write them off fully. I think there's a lot of question marks over the likes of De Gea and the defence needs sorting out. Will they find a top striker? What are they going to do? But with no Champions League football, how many can they attract? That will be the question. We'll move on to Newcastle, who do have Champions League football and were impressive last season. A name straight away in most people's heads will be Trippier, Callum Wilson, Isak, those sort of players. But I've given them a D. I think their fixtures are very tough. Aston Villa, Man City, Liverpool, Brighton. Then it gets a little bit easier. Brentford, Sheffield United and Burnley. But half of those fixtures are tough. I've had to give them a D. But after that, I think it's a bit easier for them at the back end. But a D, I believe, to give a D because the start is absolute rotten. So I think people are going to be avoiding to begin with, and then maybe they will jump on them in game week 5. But before that, not very good. So a D for me, and that's the reason why. Nottingham Forest, they did well to stay up. I tell you what, when they play at home, stadium's incredible, isn't it? Really is a great atmosphere, gets behind the team, and it's a tough place to go. But Arsenal, tough. They've got to go away. Arsenal capable of beating them. Sheffield United, Man United, Chelsea, Burnley, Man City and Brentford. So domino effect there, but for me, yeah, Forest's going to struggle again. I think they'll probably go into the market again and buy God knows how many players. But surely they'll have a bit more of an idea what they need to do this season. They've done well to survive, but still a D. Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, Man City, Everton, Tottenham, Newcastle, West Ham. Terrible fixtures, newly promoted. A D for me, easy D. Then we move on to Spurs. Can they keep hold of Harry Kane? If they do, he is their talisman. But still a D for me. Brentford, Man United, Bournemouth, Burnley, Sheffield United, Arsenal and Liverpool. Not a great start. You know, Man United, Arsenal and Liverpool stand out. Tough fixtures there for Spurs. And then we're going to move on to West Ham, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Brighton, Man City, Liverpool and Sheffield United. Now, they might start okay against Bournemouth, but Chelsea will be a tricky game. Without Declan Rice, I think he'd be sold for sure. I think Declan Rice is a massive player for West Ham. Without him, probably be quite tricky. And you've got Man City and Liverpool to go against as well, and Brighton. So not good really for West Ham. I'd avoid them to start with. Then Wolves. Last but not least, Wolves, sorry. So Man United, tough start. Brighton, tough start. A D, ringing already. Everton, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, Luton Town, then Man City. Probably one of the toughest fixture runs that is on there. Absolutely swerve Wolves. So yeah, that summarises the first 7 game weeks, Focus Crew, of fixtures. And the rank above me, 368,000th. I'll be looking to beat that next season. Hopefully I can. I hope this information has helped you and give you just a rough idea. It's good just to dip your toe into the fixtures and get a basic understanding of what's going on and what players you're more likely to to go for and what budget players you could get away with the fixtures. So yeah, please do subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and thank you for watching. Take care.